Well, first match of the day is starting, so let's see which champ will take it home today.
Bye, Liz.
I can't tell you how excited I am about this. We've been talking about it, especially right now. Two very strong teams, two teams that understand the meta, understand drafting, and in a point right now in the meta where there are just so many dangers. I talked with you about it before. No matter who you ban here, there are still going to be some super strong and game-changing picks out there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's a lot of new things that are coming into the meta that's like almost game breaking if played correctly. I'm sure a lot of people have seen kind of the chip in action once in a while. Hopefully we get to see some of that today, but chip hasn't been as consistent and as abusive as this new combination, this Louis and Arlott. And the bans are on the table here. The Valentina has been taken out, so has the CC and the Joy. So a lot of the utility are still available. A lot of the bully laners, especially like the Roger, the Ruby, the Arlotts, the Flex, are all available for both of these teams. Like, I mean, the draft is really open these days, and even with some of the bans are on the table, the Fairness gets taken out here, there's still so many picks available for both teams to pick for, and to find a strategy that works for them to be able to get these games. And these are tight, close series, and these are really close teams here, Private.
Yeah, for me, it's a game of pick your poison. There's, especially against a team like Gaming Gladiators, where just people are just so lethal. We see that in the right now, best player. We're going to go ahead and hone in on him. We're going to take off the joy from him because he's just so mechanical with a lot of his picks. You were talking already, there's a lot of the utility still left out there. Minotaur, Tigreal, who have been such game-changing characters for a lot of these teams. And then there's some of these ones that just recently have come into play. The Roger, you were talking about Natan off screen, and then my favorite right now has been the Masha, which has had a huge role, especially when it comes to that late game, being able to close the distance on a lot of those squishier heroes for those fights. So this could be going anywhere. Still up on the board, I want to say probably the most dangerous when it comes to like the supports. Matilda's still out there, Masha's still out there. Oh man, there's so much. Roger's still good. It just really is exciting for me, not just because of the teams playing each other, but because of the mixing and matching that can be done with a lot of these compositions with what's left out on the board.
You know, now with the bans are all on the table, Nolan gets taken out by the side of A77 to secure the last ban here. You know, I think Masha first pick could be a potential if Shark wants to go for that. Things like the Fredrin or the Boxy or the Barats that, you know, are available. Those are great first picks that, you know, don't take away from anything too much. They could honestly opt for a Flex Roger. That could be potential, or, you know, even the GG strat that they like to go that Ruby quite early. Chicken and both Shark are great, especially with the I'm Offended. But they do opt to go for the Fredrin. Fredrin, especially compared to, let's say, the Boxia and the Barats. Very good retro, right? Especially with the first skill cast with the retro. I believe it is going to be the highest damage out of those three. So in terms of securing for the objective, he's going to be completely great. And that's not even including the CC kit, the dashes that he has, and even with the explosive damage with his bonk that he can come through. Now, A77 with 2 picks. I do think Louis could be a good potential. Matilda is also available, does get picked up here. They could opt to go for, you know, even a Roger or a Natan early on, or pick up the first mage and, you know, try to see how GG dances against the comp that they have here.
Right now, those tanky junglers reign supreme in the meta. There's been some videos out on YouTube about people trying to see that. Even Filipinos, the Philippine MPL, they've tried their best to try to like flex in other junglers. But right now, tanking, the ability to stand on those objectives, to just go into the fight and to try to wait for that great opportunity for the retribution, it reigns supreme right now. So now you're going to have a Barats, especially on the side for Area 77. They're able to counter in with the Barats and the Matilda, and we talked about it before. Flask of the Oasis now has made some game changers for a lot of these supports, especially for Matilda, who's be able to use that guiding wind to add the shield, and then with the Flask of Oasis, you're going to have even more shield for your entire team. Not to mention the mobility that she provides to your team.
So both teams opting to go for the Photo, the Flask of Oasis type of roamers, the Minotaur and the Matilda. Here, the Vexana gets picked up, a great hero. Very, very strong first pick, especially after the Fairness being out. Novaria is still available. That is the potential, but Mark QT with the Louis. Now, Mark QT has been one of those mage players down mid that has taken this Louis early on in the season, right? You know, there wasn't much talk about using the Divergence, but Mark QT definitely has been handling this. Another mage that comes into mind is going to be Nicolette, right? So, you know, Mark QT on this Louis, very, very hard to deal with. Second phase bans on the table soon. XPs are needed for both teams and also the marksmen. So things like the Roger, the Natan, Carry, Claude, those are strong picks, and there's only 4 bans on the table. It's very, very hard to go against that. You also got something like the X-Borg to deal with the tanky lineup that both GG and A77 are looking to set up. And there's also like that new element of like maybe a Paquito, a Yuzong, a Terizla. You know, lots of things are available, but no, Brody and Harith gets taken out. That's 2 early game marksmen off the table already.
Yeah, I think trying to set up that Roger pickup, I'm wondering if that's what Gaming Gladiators is looking for, like a next ban here. You've taken off, I want to say, one of the strongest counters he has on the board, which is that Harith. And to go back to this last pick for Area 77, the Lu Yi, especially with how strong, I want to say I haven't seen much of Mark Cutie lately, especially on the Lu Yi, but if it's anything like what we've been seeing lately from Hoon or on the world scale, Lu Yi has just become such this huge utility for teams, and especially her biggest weakness right now is her mobility. You pair that up with a Matilda, you have a Lu Yi that can still output that huge amount of early game damage, get you around the map, and then the mobility, not only that she provides with the diversion, but the mobility that she's going to have with a Matilda that's going to be able to get her out of harm's way, or even help with a lot of the repositioning during a lot of these fights. We're moving into the last bans. It looks like Benedetta and Ixia taken off the board.
So this Benedetta pick from Yurishi is actually quite interesting. I know Fry definitely has it in his picks also, but Yurishi has been such a strong split pusher that taking out the Benedetta could kind of hold him, you know, together a little bit more. Now, Masha is still available if they do want to go for that on the side of A77. But you know, you talked about the Lu Yi pick, and it's very interesting that, you know, with the Divergent ultimate, there's no damage on that ultimate. That's why, especially early on, like, you know, you have heroes like Vexana, like Eve, Farsa, big ultimates, big range. But then you got a hero like Louis coming in, and it's just a little bit different. But, you know, now with the Divergent kind of being a very meta shifting, you know, abusing the power of the rotation, it definitely works really well, especially, you know, it opens up the skill ceiling of the hero. It's almost unlimited at this point on how creative you can use with the Divergent. But now A77 do lock in this Roger with the Harith and the Brody off on the board. It is a very, very strong gold lane pick.
Very interesting picks here. The Roger's going to blend well, especially he has the Lycan Pounce, which he can basically dive underneath a lot of abilities and CC to close the distance on an Irithel, close the distance on a Vexana there. But, I mean, in answer to that, Fly Chicken picking up the Paquito, that's an immense amount of damage at level 4. So you're going to really have to be careful about your placement, especially Mark Cutie on this Lu Yi. She's very susceptible to a lot of that damage. If he can close the distance, if maybe they mistime that guiding wind from the Matilda, I mean, he's going to be able to eat them up here. And then, of course, Irithel, a great kiting ability, and then a lot of a burst down. It's, I want to say a more squared away draft from GG, and versing a lot of mobility coming in from Area 77. I saw you shake your head there for that last pick there, Yui.
I honestly thought A77 would opt to set up for a little bit more of a frontline CC, something like a Terizla, right? Paired up with the Matilda and the Louis. Those are some front lines that are a little bit hard to kind of go into, but no, they do decide to go for this flex Barat and the XP. It's been quite popularized, especially in Asia. We've seen moments of greatness with the flicker plays, especially in North America. So this time around, it's definitely going to be a pretty good matchup. And especially since he did see the Paquito being picked up, he's like, yeah, I think I could take this, right? Give Tarzan a faster jungler. They have two great front lines coming in. And, you know, the Boxia, it's been kind of a rare pick in North America. Not so much these days, but definitely very, very strong overseas, even like first pickable. So it is a great hero on Tarzan. Definitely going to be very utility focused for both of these teams. And, you know, both of the drafts have been looking very, very sharp. It's going to be very hard to decide who actually has advantage, especially early on here, Private.
Yeah, you kind of lack the setting potential from a Boxia, but you make up for it with a lot of the stock anti-heal that he comes in with that can kind of maybe head off a lot of the healing that Minotaur is going to be able to do, especially with that Flask of the Oasis. But ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be Gaming Gladiators taking on Area 77, game ones of our top bracket of the playoffs.
Yeah, so, you know, just take a look at some of the emblems. Best player already has this Impure Rage. So he's not going to be able to have kind of that great of a clear, especially compared to, let's say, Concussive Blast, which does a little bit more AoE damage, but definitely a little bit more higher burst in terms of that first skill. Definitely going to help in terms of getting the objective, which Fredrin does so well. Right, and we do have a few quantum charges on the side of A77 Matilda with that very, very fast mobility. Emblems look relatively, you know, standard across the board. The Wilderness Blessing on both the roams and even the mages, and of course, you know, a lot of the tanky. But you know, this Fredrin supports emblem. We've seen this actually from A77 last week. This time around, best player is going to be taking this support emblem Fredrin. It's kind of this like assassin focus where he's fast on the cooldowns, has the high burst from the Impure Rage, but you know, he's probably going to lead up to something like a Brute Force for some more mobility, more damage, and just a little bit more kind of like brawl momentum early on.
Ooh, I was about to say a little Tarzan saw the trio of Gaming Gladiators that's been so lethal for a lot of teams. The rotations by them have been instrumental in a lot of the success of Gaming Gladiators. Saw that very early, got the heck out of dodge. Thought about that minion, but already Area 77 pressing their advantage into Gaming Gladiators jungle a little bit to try to refuse a little bit of that jungle, but coming up on the game's first turtle.
Yeah, and you know, honestly, with the Boxia pick at the very end, Boxia typically likes to, you know, deny at least one or two minions from the side of GG. But before that, though, some engagements.
Yeah, Jake Cutie took a heck of a lot of damage from Fly Chicken here. Shark flickers, but is not going to be getting away from Tarzan. Is that going to go ahead and flex out this fight, though, for the turtle? Jake Cutie very low. Best player tried to chase, but not able to get the handle on it. And we're still fighting at the turtle. Best player 1v2 right now does succeed in resetting this turtle right now.
Yeah, great skirmish coming out from the side of A77. They are still down in terms of the overall goal, but they're able to pick up a kill there. Shark does not have Flicker, but is level 4 ready.
Ooh, and a flicker comes out. Best player able to secure the game's first turtle. JQD does decide not to complete that circling eagle. Goes ahead, creates a little bit of distance, but still trying to get a little bit of that vision. Gets caught by Hoon with some CC. Takes about 50% of his damage there and does get out. I want to say right now a kill for Area 77, but objective going over to Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, and it does seem like, you know, the Minotaur and the Vexana paired with together at level 4, it's a little bit too much for the Louis and the Matilda, right? These two picks are very, very mobility focused, divergent. Second skill on Matilda, very, very fast heroes. So, you know, the side of A77, they may opt to kind of just give away the first two turtles, get the farms going. You know, Roger has a great mid game, especially when he gets to kind of like that 8-minute power spike when you have two items. They're going to be dealing a lot of damage. So maybe just waiting until the second or even the third turtle to look for an engagement might be the strategy that A77 has. On the other hand, Gaming Gladiators definitely looking for that bully ball. Shark early on already. You know, even though dying early on and trading that flicker early, they were still able to secure that objective with pretty much no problem at all.
Yeah, it felt like the reset. Oh, actually, here, JQ in a little bit of trouble. Circling Eagle around, gets himself to safety. Best player not going to be able to complete that, as it does look like. I mean, right now, a lot of, I want to say, safe plays right now. Areas. Oh my God, Mark Cutie. As I say that, underneath the tower, Gaming Gladiators able to find a kill onto Mark Cutie.
I do want to point out that I'm a little bit worried about the side of A77's draft. Just because the fact that, one, they didn't get the aggressive turtle early on, and with picks like Roger, especially in the gold lane, he's able to kind of just bully. Look at this, like he's able to take this lane out by himself. His power spike is early on. On the other hand, A77, kind of their other 4 people, but before that,
Minoan Fury comes out, does catch 2 members. You can see Tarzan getting a good distance. JQT with the circling eagle, 10% left onto this turtle. Shark a little bit low. Fly Chicken in the midst and fray of Area 77 is able, best player gets a kill onto JQT. You do see the Appraiser's Wrath come down. Yureshi is low. Tarzan trying to create some distance, get to the safety of his tower. They only take 1 death there. And Gaming Gladiators, another, oh, actually, no, that turtle went to Area 77, and Gaming Gladiators this time taking the kills.
Yeah, I mean, no, it was a 1-for-1 trade for both teams. Both supports left the map. But the side of A77 were able to get the objective this time around. But going back to kind of what I'm worried about is that they don't really have the CC late game to be able to, you know, kind of set up for great fights, you know, compared to, you know, the double knockup coming out from the Minotaur, from the Fredrin. It's a little bit hard for the side of A77 to set up. But I do think they have a few things that are quite in favor of them, right? The Divergent, the Matilda, which is so fast, the Matilda Drink Water, that's even a different element before that. But Tarzan here.
Yeah, Tarzan came in there, was followed by the Yin Yang and passive damage that comes from Marcutie there with that low Yi, putting a heap of damage on the Gaming Gladiators mid laner there to provide them now rotating up to the top. Into the purple jungle of Tarzan here. Best player comes in there, is not able to get the retry onto the purple buff. Tarzan still able to secure it, but already you're seeing those little signs of life. His best player getting very confident.
Yeah, and you know, the side of A77, what I'm worried about is this Rithel, not significantly strong early on, but the later the game goes, especially with the mobility that she has, it's going to be quite hard for things, for like short range mages like the Louis or Boxy, where he has to get up and personal, even the Barats. Like, it's going to be hard to be able to kind of pin him down and lock him in a position, but JQT getting pinned by himself, pops the Purify, so no Purify available for the next objective for JQT.
And before this turtle fight starts, I just want to say, like, one thing that I've noticed, Marcutie really hasn't been able to utilize that diversion. You can see JQT in a little bit of trouble here. Tarzan coming into the back for the rescue here. Damage being laid on by Marcutie with that passive. Best player very low, is going to go ahead and dash himself to safety, but Fly Chicken into the back lines finds himself a kill on to JQT.
Yeah, I mean, Fried Chicken coming out from the backside, able to, you know, zero out JQT in that team fight. There was like, you know, a front fight happening, a back fight happening, and you can see, you know, Fried Chicken sneaking on to the backside, but ISO able to pick up the top tower against Zia. This is something that we've kind of seen it coming, right? You know, the Roger going up against the Rithel, just the significant early game that he has is just a little bit too much to handle. So definitely getting the top tower is great for A77. They have the tower's advantage, seeing if they could get the control over the jungle when it's leading up to the very first Lord now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's right now it's about Area 77 kind of needing to press their advantage here. Shark in a little bit of trouble, 50% down. You can see JQT well in the back lines. They hone in on him. They sense blood in the water. Tarzan coming in for the save onto the back part of best player. Fried Chicken gonna find and secure the kill onto JQT. Lord is up, and this actually might set Area 77 back a bit. You see a lot of CC coming onto Tarzan. Fried Chicken coming onto the backside, looking to help out things there. Appraiser's Wrath is down 10% on Tarzan with a pop-up with the Minoan Fury, and Fly Chicken finds another kill as they are chasing down Yureshi.
Yeah, a great use of skills from the side of Gaming Gladiators, just stacking it right on top of Tarzan. And Tarzan and Yureshi, those are two big, wonky, tough targets. Lots of defense, lots of health. And the side of GG able to kind of just rotate with their spells and able to get both of those kills. But before, Shark.
Yeah, you see the Lycan Pounce does go on there now, setting his sights onto Zia, slapping on with that damage. Best player is alone. I believe he was able to secure that Lord, now trying to get away. ISO on the hunt, finds himself another kill. So 2 kills for 1 Lord. and they're gonna press some. They're gonna pressure onto this mid tower. So I want to say this is an up for Area 77 right now.
That's a most definite up for the side of A77. Although GG was able to get the Lord, they did drop 2 players down. Even best player was taken out there. Now, the Lord is marching down on the top side. They should be able to get like a small 5-man siege going on. It is the first objective here, but A77 already with 2 towers in the game. Now it's, it's deciding fact to see if A77, if they're able to defend this Lord, if they can just, drop 1 tower, defend the rest. That might be a pretty good up for the side of them, but Arithel scales so well into the late game, and Roger is just going to get weaker and weaker as items are being stacked up by both teams. I feel like A77 now is the time, if they really want to shine, to be able to get a good convincing team fight, get the deny coming in, because I feel like GG, they're just going to be able to scale, especially with that frontline defense, that lockdown CC coming out from the Minnow, from the Fredrin. It's going to be quite tough for the side of A77 to be able to handle.
Yeah, and I'm kind of noticing a lack of utilization of this diversion. We're really not using Lu Yi to like her maximum potential here, and that's 2 towers down for Area 77. They were able to get 1 at the bottom lane there. ISO able to secure that. So I still want to say just narrowly kind of edging in favor of Area 77, but you're right. As this goes later and later, Area 77 is going to have just a tougher time with these engagements. As I talk about that, Tarzan gets caught. A lot of pop-ups there, 50%, and the guiding win able to get him to safety. Lu Yi putting on the damage with a lot of that passive damage. Zia being chased down. Are they going to be able to find him? No. Zia kicks in the Nas and is able to get himself to safety.
Yeah, I mean, the side of A77, they do have the raw element of the divergent, right? The ability to kind of go across maps, defend the side lanes, get those 1 versus 1 situations into like a 1 versus 3. Take a look at some of the in-game equipments. Raj already up about 1k gold, has the BOD endless battle, so very, very high burst. Not very traditional in terms of the build. A lot of the people, they like to go for something like a DHS Golden Staff Corrosion. This time around, opting for a little bit more in terms of that burst damage. I think it's quite good. It adds a lot of physical damage that the side of A77 is, quite lacking here. But the gold lead is still very, very close onto both sides. This is something we really like to see in NACT private, right? Like long, drawn out games, 33k, 233ks, low kill score. Right? It's very macro heavy, and these 2 teams are definitely very strong in terms of the macro sense, the strategies, getting those banana split push, getting those numbers in advantage. It's just going to be a great game to watch here.
One thing I noticed when I saw those items up there is that on the side, Shark does not have the flask yet, and they're already able to kind of really hold their own right now with a lot of these fights. Once he gets that flask, I want to say you're gonna start seeing a little bit of a tip in the how these team fights are gonna start being happening here for Area 77, because you're gonna have a lot of shielding coming there. Reshi just misses that Detna's welcome there onto best player. Circling Eagle onto best player. Is he going to continue it? He does not. Shark looking for an opportunity. Minnow and Fury catches 2 members. Another pop-up by Hoon on the side. Tarzan goes in, takes a heap of damage, is able to get himself to safety. The rest, you can see Mark Cutie does not get away. And best player scoops up his saving grace there. The Lord for the side of Gaming Gladiators.
The way that GG has set up that team fight is so beautiful. They had Shark kind of in the front side zoning 3 to 4 members, and you had Tarzan deep into GG's lineup, but unable to get the peel that he was looking for. Completely just bursted out in that whole entire team fight. Now GG looking for a 5-man siege.
Yeah, big pop-ups coming, circling Eagle. Zia able to find a kill on to Ureshi. They are enforcing their will. Only 3 members left. Mark Cutie back up now, looking to put onto the damage, maybe be able to punish some of the Gaming Gladiators. Looking for a defense here. Best player looking for the taunt right now. Lord is at the enemy gates. Down comes the Appraiser's Wrath. Does not find a kill there, but Mark Cutie gets killed by Hoon there. Half health onto this base. First game gonna go to Gaming Gladiators.
Wow, what a close coming out from Gaming Gladiators. 13 minutes, right? This is the second Lord that marched down onto the top side, and they were able to kind of just group up, get like 1 or 2 pickoffs here and there, and able to kind of push the victory here. Now it's at a low kill scoring game, but you know, very, very high in terms of kind of the GPM. The damage is quite high coming out from Gaming Gladiators. I think, you know, their comp, it definitely worked well, especially with the amount of CC that they had with the Minnow, with the Fredge, when they're able to get the setups going and just kind of withstanding the early game presence of a Roger and not letting this game scale into the late game where, you know, the Divergent, the teleport plays are, you know, so prone for abuse and so prone for, you know, just tipping the scale of the game. They were able to close this game out very cleanly. 13 minutes, very standard. No one dies in the Lord. They had the siege, the death wall going, and they were able to prevail and push for victory in such a short amount of time here, Private.
Yeah, you can see here Zia there 3-0-1 despite, I want to say, being forced very hard onto the lane. You can see there even his matchup against ISO dominated that lane, but Zia still able to kind of keep his cool, maintain his composure until it got to the point where he was going to be relevant, and that was with these team fights and the setups by Shark with that Minoan Fury allowed Zia to kind of come in, get a lot of those kills. Hoon as well with the Minoan Furies providing that Eternal Guardian, and then the huge amount of damage that you get from a Vexana. As we take a look here at some of the other stats here, Rich Guy, this is all except for the sandbag going over to Gaming Gladiators. Of course, Hoon with the exorbitant amount of damage from Gaming Gladiators. Zia, of course, in the gold lane with the high amount of gold, and then of course the assist coming from Shark. And this is the XP lane, which was I want to say not as favorable for Yoreshi. That Paquito pick, Fly Chicken, just an absolute did a great job with him.
And this is one of the things about picking, like, let's say a Bratz early. Like, if we kind of think back into the draft, we had Gaming Gladiators open with a Fredrin, and, you know, to pick up Bratz right after that, especially with Boxia being available, I think it's a little bit too much for the side of A77, right? And they were lacking in terms of the CC, in terms of the front lines to be able to stop Zia in his tracks. And with something like a Bratz, where you saw him using Daytona's Welcoming, kind of like an opening move, and was unable to hit like majority of the times. I don't think the Bratz and the Boxia worked well together, especially in this one. But if you take a look at the damage, I thought Mark QT was gonna be showing up in terms of the highest damage dealt. I also knew like things like the Paquito could possibly be up there, but Hoon coming out on top just a little bit barely on the Vexana just shows how good of a hero that pick is, right? The early pick with the Vexana and not really too much damage taken, right? The side of GG played so well here, high kill participations across the board. You were able to get Chicken into the fights relatively early on, and Zia just played, you know, a very nice game. Didn't really lose any deaths, even though he got his towers down. He was still able to, you know, create the impact, get the farms going, and mid to late game he was still dealing tons of damage on the rotations.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. You called it right from the draft. I felt like maybe we kind of had forced the flexibility of the Bratz there. You pick up the Boxy, and now the Bratz is in the XP lane, a lane that he doesn't really shine in. I mean, sure, he's viable, he can be, but I think you need to check a lot of boxes. And especially against somebody like Chicken, who's I want to say one of the best in the XP lane right now. And I'm told that we have some clips of that match up there, especially in some of those last fight ups that really kind of changed the pace here. You saw Shark getting in there, you talked about it, right in the midst there in front, forcing forcing Area 77 back. They weren't able to come in and protect Tarzan as he went deep into the lines. As soon as they were able to push it in, they do get the Lord, and then it's pretty much game over from there. They're able to push in here. They're a man down, now 2 men down, Lord up at top. It seemed like it was going to be a little bit more of an even game, but the moment that Gaming Gladiators got the advantage, they kept it, they held on to it, and they were able to close this one at 13 minutes. I feel like a big thing for me is, as you discussed, that Boxia pickup, and I feel like an underutilization of the Lu Yi. You don't really have to be late game to be successful with her diversion. And I feel like we kind of picked Lu Yi because we know she's strong, but we didn't really excel with her, and because there's still things you can do in the early game. I mean, I dare talk about Hoon when he plays it on Gaming Gladiators. Whether it's as soon as he gets that ultimate, he's making sure that XP can get back to their lane quicker. He's setting up for ganks onto the side lanes there. It's not just waiting for those team fights to find out if maybe you can find a little bit of a position in there. So I feel like that was another, I want to say, hurdle for Area 77 in that match, and we're gonna see if they can kind of come back from that, come back with something a little bit stronger, a little bit more precise against Gaming Gladiators. We're moving into game 2.
Yeah, and you know, just the last point on the last one, it almost felt like the side of A77 lacked a little bit in 2 departments from where I see it. One is going to be the frontline CC to be able to hold it down, especially going up against the Erythal. The side of A77 had that last pick to be able to kind of lock down the very last, you know, the Erythal, and they were just kind of unable to do so. They opted to go for a flex pick, and with the Boxia pick, they didn't really get that early invade happening, right? You could see, you know, Tarzan trying to go all over the place, trying to get that last minion, but it ended up just being kind of 50-50 around the turtle. That's number one. And number two, I felt like they kind of lacked in terms of the clear departments. They didn't have that late game minion managing to be able to kind of shove the waves, because, you know, quite honestly, the side of GG, they walked down mid. They put all their members underneath the mid tower, was able to get a team fight started, was able to push that tower, go onto the top side, rinse and repeat, and have enough utility to be able to sustain and push through all the way to the base. And A77, they almost stood no chance in terms of just clearing those small minions, right? Things like Novaria, Claude, Carry, definitely can bring in a little bit more in terms of that clear. That's kind of the things that I want to see A77 be able to do in this draft. Bring in a little bit more CC, maybe question some of the flex picks that are maybe unnecessary, right? Open with the Fredrin, no need to take the Barats or the Akai early on, or the Boxia early. Maybe go for something like the Natan, which brings in a little bit more late game. It seems like A7 have a good early game strategy where they can use something that's a little bit more weaker, a little bit more glass cannon, that has so much AoE damage, and especially at the 10k gold, a 10k Natan versus 10k Roger, huge difference. Single target versus shredder, backside, front side with the Entropy teleport. That's huge, right? So A77 this time around, opening with the Fredrin. I love this. This is pretty much the same exact thing that GG does. And hey, man, this is a great pick. The response coming through, something, I think a Natan early pickup could be potential. Shark goes for the Matilda this time around.
Ooh, here's the scary thing is, and I was talking about this before, is that there's so many strong picks out there that you're gonna leave something open with it. Shark, even all the way back in M3, has had just one of the most disgusting and vulgar Matildas I've ever seen in games. And this is exactly, it's almost akin to what you were talking about before with a lot of that mobility that you get. You wanted to see the Lu Yi and the Arlot, but we're gonna get a mix of the Matilda and the Arlot. You're gonna be able to reposition him around there. He's very strong, a lot of tools in him to get that setting potential. And then on the side of Area 77, looks like we're going to pick up the Heroth, kind of wanting to precede that potential Roger pick from Gaming Gladiators, and then the Valentina to, I mean, I want to say, like, you got a list of ultimates right now on the side of Gaming Gladiators that you can pick from. You got the Final Slash, potentially the Circling Eagle. I want to say mostly the Final Slash, though, because I feel like the Circling Eagle could potentially put Mark Cutie in harm's way more than it would actually benefit the team.
Yeah, so I saw in this Harith, it's almost like it's kind of like a personality pick for the side of ISO. Like, he has been doing really well with the Harith pick. I know there's plenty of opportunities, like especially back then on BTK, Harith and 1-1. Those are the two picks that ISO loves to go for. Mark QT on this Valentina, a little bit early for me. I think there is still a lot of solid options available, especially things like the Novaria with the fast clear speed. But there's only a handful of players that like to prioritize the Valentina, and especially if they're proficient on it and make the impact. They see the final slash, they're like, hey, flicker final slash, something I've done countless of times. I would love that pick, right? And Mark QT is definitely one of them. But a pick that we have not seen quite a bit, Private, is going to be this Guinevere that gets locked in for best player. And with the Matilda available, this pretty much is set in stone for the jungle pick, I'm assuming, right?
Oh, yeah. Especially Arlot Matilda out there. I mean, this is going to be a jungle one. And I'm just actually, I don't know what you go here. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to go with a tankier Gwen pick there. So he's going to have the CC of that Violet Requiem more so than you're going to be looking at the damage that you get when you go with the full damage Gwen build out there. It's going to have the same effect. You're going to be tanky. You're going to be able to hang out at that Lord and Turtle pits to kind of contest a lot of those objectives here. And then, yeah, just CC. Raw CC coming from them right now with a lot of their picks. The same thing with Area 77, sans the Harith pickup. Valentina's got a little bit of CC. Fredrin's just a walking taunt for the enemy, but it's definitely going to be something I definitely want to see if we're going to prioritize maybe a frontliner for the side of Area 77. It's something that they lacked out in the last game, which Gaming Gladiators were absolutely able to take advantage of.
So here's the thing that side of A77 is lacking, though, is a lot of physical damage. A lot of the times, Harith loves to be paired up with something like a Natan, very physical heavy. Now, the Natan has been banned out in the first phase. Things like Paquito, Lapu Lapu full damage, or even a Benedetta that was banned out in the first game that was available this time around, brings in a lot of physical damage that A77 is lacking. Now the side of GG, yes, they're kind of on a similar spot here. They pick up the Navaria, brings in a little bit of extra magic damage and a lot of lane clearing, and on a person like Hoon, it's very, very hard. But I am so excited for this Raphael. I've been waiting for this matchup pretty much this whole entire time. Traditionally, Matilda is not a support that's uncounterable. Things like Lolita, Matilda, even things like Estes and Florin work really well against the sustain, the reap, the reactive play that Matilda kind of needs. And now with the Raphael, you're going to be able to see kind of this mid lane strategy where Matilda uses first skill, Raphael slows him down, gets out of the range, gets a few auto attacks in. The trade is so good, so in favor of the hands of Raphael. I love A77's draft here, especially paired up with a nice Benedetta for that split push. And GG here finalized their draft from the Exia pick.
Yeah, it's very interesting here, especially with the lineup, the competition that you're going to have here in the XP lane with the Benedetta taking on an Arlot. I feel like Benedetta is pretty much uncounterable in the lane. You just basically got to let them do their thing, clear the lane, then you clear your lane after. The Matilda's going to be, or the Benedetta's going to be able to out-rotate you there. If you have JQT kind of setting up a lot of that and helping them move to rotate faster. But on the side, the synergy that we have from Gaming Gladiators here, especially the Ixia, who traditionally is very immobile, especially when you launch out that full barrage. There's nowhere for you to go. You might have a flicker on you, but also now you're going to have that guiding wind from Shark on this Matilda that's going to be able to get you out of harm's way, going to be able to pull you back, or even reposition you to a point to maybe cut off Area 77's escape. But we've been talking about it. Can Area 77 bounce back from, I want to say last season's, where they've kind of shrugged off? They've gotten beat in the early games and kind of fallen off in the later. Can we see them bounce back here in game 2 against Gaming Gladiators? We're about to find out.
Impure Rage on Tarzan QT. We should see a support emblem kind of going for that brute force route that Tarzan kind of likes to go for. But a question here for you, Private. Have you ever seen a moving missile barrage?
I have when we first started seeing the Ixia and the Matilda used in together. Oh, JQT gonna get caught. Gaming Gladiators able to finish off where Area 77 was not on to Hoon and claim the first blood already.
Yeah, very early aggressive rotation for the side of Gaming Gladiators. Even with the Guinevere in the jungle, they're able to kind of go across the map and get that green camp really early on. That's going to put them quite ahead, especially if Tarzan is unable to get there. But best player already, Impact, 2 places, picks up 2 kills within 1 minute. That's huge for this side of Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, and especially under tower. Fried Chicken, a little bit of trouble here. Tarzan with the energy blast there. Down comes the Appraiser's Wrath. Fried Chicken very smoothly able to find himself a dash to get out of harm's way. And unfortunately, Area 77 come out empty-handed.
Yeah, and now they're coming out with even more XP difference between them. You know, best player able to get 2 kills already near the top side of the map, farms up both the green camps, and Tarzan unable to get the green camp that is next to the XP. That's going to be a pretty big loss in terms of that XP. You're going to see level 5 versus level 4. Best player already on a better rotation, even just early on here.
Yeah, and my question now too is who's going to be able to get to the back line to even take out Hoon? I don't even think we have an answer for that on Area 77. As we're moving in, we do have the Astral Echo out there. Best player comes in with an ultimate, is not able to secure a kill there. Fly Chicken, very low, gets taken out by Yoreshi there. 10% left, best player, very low. Finds a kill onto the turtle. Is he going to be able to get away? You see the auto attacks coming out there. Appraiser's Wrath is not going to be able to do anything there. Shark. He says, get down, Mr. President. He goes in there, takes the Appraiser's Wrath, but best player able to get away.
Yeah, I mean, this is not a fight that A77 really wants to take. They were trying to get the objectives, but they were kind of struggling a little bit in terms of getting that last hit. The side of Gaming Gladiators was able to pick that one up themselves. Now, they did trade a few kills in response. A77 was able to get 2 there, but on the top side here, ISO.
Yeah, of Zia. I mean, ISO, the mismatches right now, the outplays that are happening in the side lanes. Gaming Gladiators don't even really need to send much support, and they're sending support anyway. So if it wasn't bad enough that Area 77 is losing the lanes, the faster rotations from Gaming Gladiators are helping to even secure these kills for them. Now 2-3 and a 2K gold lead for Gaming Gladiators.
And it's so interesting that ISO picking up this Herith, it's supposed to be something like a guaranteed winning in terms of the gold lane, right? Against any marksman, he should have a great time, especially maybe not against something like a Roger, but Exia for sure. Stationary marksman, he should be able to have the time of his life up there. But on the other hand, it's the complete opposite. It seems like Zia has complete full dominance and control of that game with or without Shark. You know, he's able to kind of just go above and beyond and get ISO on some of these 1 versus 1 unfavorable matchup that should typically favor him. So Gaming Gladiators coming out with a great strategy with this Exia, something that I haven't seen that, you know, people are that confident into picking, especially going up against Herith, but they're definitely making good use of that.
Ooh, Fried Chicken in between, a sandwich in between 2 members. Final slash is out. Fried Chicken looking for an escape. The Electro Final Blow is out. Zia finds a kill off screen onto Tarzan. Fried Chicken dashing back.
There's no way.
Looking for the kill onto Mark Cutie, but is not going to be able to get away. But Gaming Gladiators able to answer on the opposite side of the map along with a turtle secure.
2 for 1 and a turtle side of GG. This is turning into kind of a one-sided match. Again, GG has been so consistent in setting up, especially when it comes down to that mid to late game strategy. But this time around with the early game lead, it's just going to push them even more forward with the strategies that they have. This is just the dominating performance of the #1 team in North America, playing clean here. Already for like a 3.5k lead 5 minutes in. Not something you want to see from the side of A77, but it's definitely something that, you know, they can come back from here, Private.
Yeah, it's definitely going to come down to a lot of these fights if they can play safe here. But you can see right here already, best player comes in. Violet Requiem is out, finds a kill. Zia with a full barrage onto the tower is going to go ahead and help Gaming Gladiators secure the mid tower of Area 77. And right now, Area 77 on the back foot, looking and struggling right now to try to get farmed up. They're losing engagements, they're losing towers, they're losing lanes. And unfortunately right now, it's looking like all Gaming Gladiators at the 6-minute mark.
And it's so interesting that ISO is the one that's getting taken off, right? Herith is a hero that has a lot of dashes, a lot of escapability, has kind of, you know, a built-in tough boost, especially when there's a lot of members around. But Yoreshi bot side here.
Oh, yeah, he comes in with the Electro final blow with the Petrify as well. Shark with the Circling Eagle is able to find 2 members to pop up there. You can see the Zaman Force down. ISO zooming around the map. Best player comes in. Violet Requiem. Jay able to get out of the way. Full barrage is out, laying waste to Area 77. Zia finds a kill, followed by Hoon as well right now. What a game. Best player right now, 404 alongside Zia.
We need to see the items on the board. I know Zia picked up a DHS. Probably the Corrosion is also available there. Chicken on the top side, able to get that tower also. GG playing pretty much a very, very strong game here. No towers has been even chipped on the red side. They're looking to take the next objective here. That's just going to push their gold lead even higher. We're talking about probably an 8k gold lead at this point, 7 minutes in. That's a very, very strong showing for the #1 team here.
Oh, we do have, they're diving in onto ISO, looking for an escape. Full barrage is out, trying to take down Mark Cutie. They do find a kill there. Yureshi finds a kill onto Shark and Hoon. And Fried Chicken in a little bit of trouble, very low, coming in, is able to shut down Yureshi. Tarzan next on the list as Zia picks up a kill. Zia sitting at 7-0-6 for Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, absolute dominating performance. A great team fight. Another 3-for-2 winning fight for the Kings of the Kings here. Look at Zia with the gold, man. 4k above ISO. DHS Corrosion looking for that a potential golden staff or even the Wind of Nature. It's gonna be extremely hard for the side of A77 to be able to deal with the late game exit, especially since they didn't get kind of the chips in early on, where Exia do struggle a little bit in terms of something like the mobility and even the early game damage. But now with the DHS, a Corrosion, and he was ulting pretty much full missile barrage underneath the tower, no problem at all. You know, he was sieging up in positions that he probably shouldn't even have to, and there was no punish, no abuse. A77 kind of just taking the heat right now. One thing that they do have is a small split pusher. There's not much in the side of GG can really deal with Yurishi. Maybe putting the Navaria into the far lane to clear from the backside, but Arlot going for, you know, the side might be kind of tough here.
Yeah, and a little bit of engagement there, but they do decide to back up. But like, and I agree, and this is something I was talking about before, is like, even in a perfect game, when you were pushing back Ixia, eventually she's going to kind of hit that mark. She's going to get to the mid game. She's going to get to that late. We don't really have an answer. Oh, big pop-up lands for best player onto Tarzan, down to 10%. All the damage coming out of Praise's Wrath is not going to be enough to save him. Shark picking up the kill for Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, the mobility and the picks. Best player here, 4-0-10. Definitely showing MVP candidates here. 7-0-7 from the side of Zia. Definitely also showing, you know, quite the strong gold laner from the side of GG here. They're dominating in both kind of the side lanes here and even in the jungle. And when we looked at the last game, right, GG, they had, you know, Chicken on the side lane just completely dominating there. But here we go, the team fight, the replay on the board. You saw Zia pretty much just full missile barraging underneath the tower. He does not have a care in the world, continues to go and follows through, and they were able to pretty much completely clean up A77 in that small skirmish.
Yeah, man, a Gaming Gladiator. I mean, they're basically setting the standard, and they're letting Area 77 know right now why they are at the top of the North American ladder. We take a look here at the items. We already saw 7k there for best player. He's about 3k above his Area 77 jungler Tarzan, and right now only left to the high ground towers. Lord at the bottom. Pressure not really at the top. You can see the blue. You can see the side of Area 77 being pushed a little bit at the top. So this does mean that they're going to have the pressure only down here at the bottom. But I mean, right now, Zia and the rest of Gaming Gladiators, there's not much that Area 77 can do, even with that advantage. Coming in with an Electro final blow, Yureshi going to be able to dash himself to safety. Lord now attacking the core. Big Violet Requiem lands. Tarzan taken down. Full barrage is out. Zia finds 3 kills. Shark finds another one as well. 11-0-8 for the marksman of Gaming Gladiators, and that's gonna settle game number 2.
That's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous. 13-minute game, private. Now we got an 11-minute game. The votes have definitely turned. It's a 13k gold lead for the Kings here. Definitely a strong performance coming up. And honestly, this is a team that has dominated pretty much throughout the whole entire season. And with this series, only 2 games in, there's still just completely one-sided, and it doesn't seem like A77 have quite the response yet so far, even though they honestly had a pretty decent draft here, right? The overall KDA 21, 5 and 53, lots of KD, lots of assists for the side of Gaming Gladiators. They definitely grouped up quite well, very high damage coming out from them, and man, 11 minutes in, 21-5. It's just complete domination from the Kings of the Kings.
Yeah, an amazing game played by Gaming Gladiators. You were talking about the assist right from the early bit of the game. The assists, the pressure onto the marksman lane, that even though ISO was under tower, best player able to close the distance with the Violet Requiem, finds the kill very early, and then the pressure just continued to the point that, I mean, we've talked about it before, a lot of the rotations, and we've kind of sometimes ignored the matchups. Even like you talked about, a favorable draft from Area 77 where they should be having, I want to say, favorable instances in their lanes, still getting pushed back, taking a lot of damage, having to go home very early. There was just no pressure from the side lanes, and then unfortunately the rotations just added to that power for Gaming Gladiators for them to enforce their will. And here, Zia, I mean, man, this game, 973 gold per minute, 61,000 damage there. Tarzan, the sandbag, unfortunately, and best player here taking Shark's place with 16 assists.
Yeah, and I mean, Zia in that game, it was only like an 11-minute match, but out damaged pretty much all the mages that came in from the 13-minute match from the game before. So really paints a picture in terms of what GG has in their lineup. Now the head-to-head is going to be going for Chicken and Yureshi here. Chicken pretty much had just a little bit more impact with the R lot. Definitely was able to set up great team fights, not dying too much here and there. But Yureshi, I felt like there was potential there, moments of greatness, right? He was split pushing on the top side. We were wondering if the side of GG is able to find the response to deal with the split push that comes out from the Benedetta, especially paired up against the R-Lot. But it seems like GG handled it just really well and consistent, right? They were able to get the pick off on Yurishi when he overextended just a little bit, get the siege ongoing, watch for the petrify, and they were able to kind of disperse when the Benedetta ultimate came through. Overall, a great game again from the side of Gaming Gladiators. We look at the team fight participation, 95% for best player, 95 also for Zia. It paints the complete story. These two are crowned all-star players, and of course the supporting actors. This time around, Chicken did not get the team fight participation that he was looking for, but again, the overall win is still a win. Shark, high utility, 81%, and also even Hoon getting a few snipes here and there, completely just messed up the game, messed up the strategy for the side of A77, and allowed GG to just prevail and dominate this matchup.
Zia almost got more damage than the whole of Area 77 there. Sans, I want to say Yureshi in there. That's just incredible. And you were talking about the matchup between Yureshi and Chicken. Even without the ganks there, I felt like Chicken was really pushing Yureshi alone in the lane, and that was happening on both sides. So there just was no pressure from Area 77 on both fronts. And by the time Yureshi was able to start getting into those back lanes, to start getting those split pushing, to be a nuisance, to be going back and forth, it was already too late. Gaming Gladiators, I mean, an 11-minute close there, and that just meant that Yureshi just never was able to pick up fast enough to really kind of become that nuisance with the mobility that he has.
So what's the strategy that these teams have to kind of face up, especially against a King of the Kings like this, right? There's a few options that I think could be viable, right? One, get strong lane clears. Things like Navaria, Brody. One skill hit, the lane is done with clearing, right? And the lane clear brings in, you know, a different structure where it is about prolonging the game. It's about tower defensing, and it's about just holding out as long as possible for our members to scale. And A77 has a good draft. You and I both agree, but in terms of the execution, in terms of how they're willing to prolong the game, maybe give up some of the fights that just are not favorable, A77's on the short end of stick every single place that they go, whether it is early game small initiations, whether it is getting jungle camps, or even like the big map rotations. GG is just standing out on top of that. So I think one thing A77 could do is give them a little bit more insurance in terms of the lane clearing. They've struggled to be able to clear the objectives at the second Lord at 11 minutes, 13 minutes in. Pick up the Navaria, pick up the Faramis. They provide some sort of bounce, some sort of AoE clear, maybe projects them into the right direction in terms of the late game. Because at this moment, it definitely seems like GG has the strategy to just be able to walk over A77 and maybe potential another 10-15 minute match, and this series already over.
I feel like right now, sans the actual draft, for me, I want to say the execution and the rotations. I don't want to say Area 77 is slow, but Gaming Gladiators are just so quick. As where they meet into those lanes. The first game we saw that even with Tarzan trying to invade, best player was always there, contesting his even his normal minions in the jungle, not allowing them to kind of steal. Then came the lane pressure. Second game, the lane pressure was so quick from best player to kind of close the distance, even under the tower where ISO thought he was all right. I just took a couple of shots. All right, just gonna sit here and recuperate. Boom, in comes best player, Violet Requiem, and it's game over. And you've already started losing lane. You started losing gold, and the pressure just keeps on continuing. I want to say right now, this is a very crisp, very strong Gaming
GG.
Gladiators that I want to say it's even stronger than we've been seeing in the season right now. And I mean, that's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate story for Area 77 right now, who had that, I want to say, that little glimmer of hope, but it's starting to fade here. If they cannot, like you said, find the working composition, find that confidence in a lot of these rotations.
Now, Minotaur first pick is a little bit untraditional, especially with things like Ruby, Matilda being available. Oh, Matilda's actually getting banned out. Some things that they could use against the Minotaur could be something like a Grok, but I kind of want to see A77 try out some of the Asian strategies, things like the Masha, which has been let open the first two games. Like, these teams are going to be going up into MSC, and they're going to see a Masha, they're going to see a Natan, these Asian metas that are so extremely strong that they've, you know, played over and over in so many of these matches, and it's worked out. But the side of A77 feels like they are still sticking to maybe something, you know, last year, right? The Valentina, Fredgen, strong picks. Honestly, love them. They're great. But it has not been working out, especially with the traditional drafts that they have. Bring in something extremely late game, or even, let's say, a Kaja Natan, right? Or, you know, Masha, right? It brings in that physical, brings in that magic damage. But this time around, see, GG is the one that's trying things out here, experimenting. Hoon on an Angela, you know, into the mage position, and the Roger potentially flex into the gold lane or even the jungle, right? And, you know, this is what I kind of want to see from the side of A77 to do. Go a little bit more off, because right now, currently, GG is just playing way too fast, just like you're saying. They're on point, the strongest 5-man that honestly we've seen them perform in, you know, quite the whole entire regular season. And now it's up to A77 to be able to push this series a little bit further. They are already down 2 games. What can they do to bring themselves back into this match? That is the important question here.
Man, we were just talking about the, I want to say the last few games we mentioned about the power of the Flask of the Oasis. And right now, Gaming Gladiators, they're about to put on a show. You're going to have the healing from the Minotaur coming out. You're going to have the healing wave, the heart wave, I believe it is, from Angela out there. And Angela's very viable. One of the few supports that is very viable in the mid game, especially, or in the mid lane, especially in the early game, because every single wave she does, she can do more and more damage with every sequential wave that she does there, along with the amount of CC she has, the regen that she can put on. She's actually a menace, and if you're not careful, she can actually start stealing some kills there, which, I mean, you've known throughout, if you've played any kind of ranked games with an Angela, she's pretty prone to being able to steal kills. So a great pickup there, which means that you're going to have a ton of sustain for the side of Gaming Gladiators, and they both operate well off of the pick of Roger, who, when he's switching forms, he gets himself a little bit of shield there, which is going to be added by Angela, which is going to be added by Minotaur with the Flask of the Oasis as well. I just want to say, like, it's a whole different level right now with Gaming Gladiators, with the synergy you see from their drafts, even from the first three, when compared right now, Area 77, they've got that tanky front line. I want to say a little bit of that early game that comes in with the Valentina. She gets a little bit of bonus XP in her kit. I believe it's just part of her passive that she gets more XP as well. And we've got, I want to say Harith is kind of he needs his items before he really kind of kicks off. So in answer right now, we've only really got Valentina to kind of really hold up and support that early game for Area 77.
Okay, I'm going to pray. All right. I like the Kaja. I was honest to be like, hey, A77, maybe switch up their strategy. They went Matilda first game, Raphael second game, both photos strong. But maybe go for something like a Masha that brings in the physical damage paired up with the Harith. These are very hard defenses that GG has to bring up. This Ruby, I like it though. It is still a very, very great pick, Private.
Yeah, I'm very interested in this Yuzong. I mean, Fried Chicken just is a very strong XP laner, period. Yuzong, on the other hand, I want to say even if you're going up against like even XP laners, Yuzong can be a little prone to those ganks in the early game. I'd love to see a little pressure from Area 77, get those ganks off early on this Yuzong before he can get his kit that gives him a lot of regen, a lot of sustainability. And then here's the pick that you have been wanting to see, is that Natan out there right now for Gaming Gladiators.
Yeah, but what is it going to be though? Natan jungle or Roger jungle, right? And if we're talking about, let's say, more PHID, definitely Natan gold paired up with something like an Inspire could, or not Inspire, but Purify could negate a lot of the CC, versus Roger already has a lot of the defensive kind of jump and dashes with a short cooldown. So the retry on the Roger makes a little bit more sense for me. But this is Gaming Gladiators that we're talking about that have taken the Natan in the jungle quite early. A77, again, a masterful draft coming out from Rose. The pack with the physical damage pairs so well with the magic damage coming out from the hair. If it's not something like a Natan, a Nolan, the pack definitely shines much brighter in the XP lane. So again, a wonderful draft coming out from both of these teams. Once again, Private, I don't want to eat my words. I like A77's draft once again. It's not like I'm voting for them. I just feel like they are drafting more balanced. But GG, so clean. 11 minutes, 13 minutes. It's hard to tell what they can do with whatever comp that they decide to drop here.
I was actually worried that this Natan was going to be like a Hanabi pickup, because mixed with the shield, the Flask of the Oasis on both Angela and Minotaur, providing more and more shield, and then the Heart Guard, I was going to be like, oh man, we're going to see another Hanabi game here. But thankfully we have Natan, a lot of burst damage. Area 77 fighting for their place in the upper brackets. One game-winning, potential game-winning game here for Gaming Gladiators. And here to set the tone for North America.
Y'all hear that, guys? Private said, thankfully no Hanabi, right? You know, the two teams that we do see the Hanabi come out is going to be DA and potentially Bloodhounds with Ooga Booga on it. But most definitely DA has been the one that's showing on that. It's not going to be this match, but maybe potentially next match private, but going back to it, you know, take a look at some of the emblems. You do have a concussive blast this time around with a tank emblem on Tarzan. So he decides to switch up his strategy here, right? He wants to go for a little bit more tanky, a little bit more utility, a little bit more sustained focus compared to kind of the support with the Impure Rage and the Brute Force build. So just a little bit change up in that build. Yes, Roger goes into that jungle, letting the taunt, having the flicker or the purify, just an extra spell to get him out of harm's way. I think it's a good decision. Once again, Roger just a little bit more stronger, but back on the mid side, you said the aggression, definitely aggression here so far.
Yeah, Shark doing a good job, and I want to say both teams doing a good job, both with their support and mid. Or actually, no, it's yeah, they're trying their best to kind of keep this the waves here, the wave control here, so that they can rotate a little bit early. Unfortunately, Marcutie takes a little bit too much damage. He's not going to be able to rotate. He's going to have to go back home, and that's going to kind of set the tone for Gaming Gladiators to be able to maybe potentially find themselves a pick before this first turtle.
Yeah, I mean, private, it's all about the little things that matter, right? The little wave management, the little rotations, the timing where, hey, I'm gonna rotate into the XP lane, or I'm gonna hide into the bush, or get this wave clear fast. But top side here, already aggression, you talked about it, right? Be aggressive on fried chicken early on. Get maybe a pick off. He's prone to a lot of the dives, a lot of the aggressions early on, and I think A77 definitely have a better strategy here.
Ooh, Black Dragon is out. Flied Chicken looking for a target. Locks on the Marcutie. Marcutie's going to use that flicker to get himself away. Is able to find a kill onto 2 members. And that's going to go ahead and set the tone for this next turtle. It is now a 2v or a 3v5 game. 2v4 at this turtle right now. Hoon coming in. Tarzan getting slowed down, looking for a stun. Appraiser's Wrath. Tarzan able to snatch up this turtle. He's looking for an escape. They are locked onto Cutie. Mar comes in with the Minoan Fury, able to set up a beautiful escape for Area 77, and suddenly there are signs of life in the extraterrestrials.
Not bad, right? Not bad. The signs of life has been shown. A little bit of greatness coming out from Tarzan, able to get the retribution with the bonk coming through. Lots of damage there, lots of potential, but when you look at kind of like that team fight that got drawn out, the side of Gaming Gladiators to be able to stack the Yuzong up with the Angela paired up with the Minoan's Fury just in the right moment took off not only the flicker but the lives of Marcutie, and it was a very, very tough fight for the side of A77 to take, especially since they didn't get the early aggression that they were looking for the Yuzong. Now we're going to kind of this mid game where every single objective the Black Dragon is going to be coming up. It's going to be extremely hard to deal with. But one thing that is in favor this time around compared to the last game is that ISO. He's doing quite well in the boss side. If not, he's doing much, much better compared to before. There's no early deaths. The 1v1 hasn't been too bad, and Shark here getting picked.
Unfortunately, that is a tank. They're still looking for the damage. Heartguard is on there, and that is going to be just enough to save Shark. And that is unfortunate for Area 77 that came in with the I'm Offended. And at the top, Yureshi actually gets a Heartguard of his own. That's going to save him. He's looking for a kill on the Fried Chicken. Black Dragon is out. Are they going to be able to find the damage? They are not. So pretty uneventful for both sides of the lanes here for both teams.
I would kind of have to comment a little bit undisciplined coming out from both of our teams, right? One, early aggression on the boss side. Shark already knew that that bush was filled with enemies there. They burned the heart guard early, right? A77 on the other hand, they had to burn the heart guard on the top side paired up with the Black Dragon. So I think it's a little bit of an advantage for the side of A77 here, especially with no Black Dragon available. And you know, technically no heart guard on Hoon just yet so far. So A77 theoretically should be able to get this with no problem. But again, a lot of ultimates have been used already.
Yeah, best player coming in, looking for an opportunity. Just like that, able to scoop it up, and Minoan Fury is out. Heartguard saves the best player, and Area 77 unable to answer back.
And everyone walks out private. Like, what is this? They had a 2-man little unit coming through with best player getting the retribution off, Shark being the last one leaving into that team fight. Flickers completely clean. Gaming Gladiators lose no member with a disadvantage in numbers, able to get the retribution. That's bad news for the side of A77. They have to find a way to be able to get back into this game, private.
Yeah, right now you can start seeing Yureshi already does lose his tower. That's very early at the 5-minute mark. Best player putting on some damage. I mean, the team fight there, I mean, it's just, you're exactly correct. Best player just walked into it, able to get the retry, and then Shark securing the escape. As we have another here, a lot more damage coming onto Mark Cutie, but they are able to kind of create that distance.
Yeah, so it does seem like the new Roger build. A lot of people like going for that wind into the endless, maybe even into the BOD that ISO did in the very first match here. So a little bit of a build difference here. Shark getting pinned a little bit, but you know, there's not going to be that much damage output from the side of A77 yet. Just so far in top side here, Yureshi, you're talking about him earlier, gets picked off by the combination of the Angela and the Black Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about Zaman forces out for ISO. No and Fury looking, catches 2 members, and now focusing on the JQD. Appraiser's Wrath is out as well. Hoon finds himself a kill with the Heartsguard. Black Dragon into the back lines, looking for a kill on the Mark Cutie. Fine, Chicken able to find it as Tarzan finds a kill onto Shark and 2 members, Area 77. Tarzan gets taken out next. ISO fighting for his life. Another Zaman force comes down, but it is not enough. Best player cleans house.
Another clean sweep from the side of Gaming Gladiators. And what's interesting is that they actually had Hoon on the top side the whole entire time, pushing out that wave. And then suddenly Hoon's back here in business.
Oh man, nowhere is safe right now. JQ needs to be very careful, especially because we've seen how far best player can dive into enemy lines with that Lycan Pounce and the Heartsguard combination. He dives just like that underneath the tower with the Heartsguard secured with Hoon at his heels.
And, you know, we honestly thought that A77 kind of had more of, you know, a fighting chance, especially with a lot of the uproars of them doing great in scrims. But this time around, they're getting quite dominated in pretty much all areas of the match. I think their draft is quite decent, but they're just losing out in some of these rotations. The side of GG is just playing so extremely clean, so efficient, and every little small skirmishes, they're just getting wins on wins. 9-1 is the overall. They've only dropped 1 death 8 minutes in and completely destroyed everyone in the side of A77.
Ooh, best player actually a little almost caught out of ways, but that's just the value you get. This is, I mean, I was talking about how much I missed seeing a Roger jungle. How quick, oh, Flight Chicken, just the mechanical ability there. Not even afraid. Appraiser's Wrath comes out, he's like, nah, just dives behind Tarzan, evades the entire thing, and still up here against 2 members. Now the rest of the team in tow. Flight, his days are not long for him.
Finally get one for the side of A77. They had to send 5 members onto the top side. That's good, right? You know, A77 able to get a kill here and there, prolonging the match a little bit. Best player, though, might be caught out in a very bad situation, but I think he's turning that around even just with the Heartguard himself.
Oh, Minoan Fury does catch, and Mark Cutie does go down. This, I mean, this is what we saw, I want to say, like 2 years ago, the Heartsguard and the Roger. I mean, it's just such a lethal combination, and how aggressive you can be with it. There's nowhere safe, especially under the tower. You can see here, Yureshi trying to put some damage on the best player, who is looking for an escape, but he's not really scared. He out-levels them by about 3 levels right now. So, I mean, he's not really afraid of them. Fly Chicken getting zone out. The rest of them, Shark doing a good job of just creating this wall in himself for the rest of Area 77. It provides more than enough room for a best player to pick up this Lord.
It does seem like they're like, you know, the Black Dragon was used, I feel like, a little bit prematurely. You know, potentially GG could bait out the side of A77 to see if they even want to contest this objective, right? Save the Black Dragon, look for a team fight, potentially even get some pickoffs that they are looking for. And if A77 do fall for the trap, right, they're going to lose members trying to get the Lord. And if not, the side of GG both can have the Black Dragon available and get it, but Hoon here, there's no way he's gonna be able to play this, huh?
Oh my gosh, we were just talking about mechanical ability. I know best player gets the kill there, but Hoon, the way he dodged those dashing punches from Paquito there on Yoreshi, I know the frustration is starting to set in. Minnow and Fury is out, followed by the Black Dragon into the back line. Tarzan able to get away, but ISO pays for it with his life. Another pop-up on the J Cutie, who is not long for this. Tarzan looking like he is next up on the line, but is going to dash himself to safety. Zia comes in with the entropy, finishes off the last two members of Area 77. That is a wipe. It's just Yoreshi left, and I do not think it's going to matter. This is going to be a clean sweep for Gaming Gladiators against Area 77.
Oh man, Private. 13, 11, and 11. A dominating performance coming out from the side of Gaming Gladiator. This is something that we've expected, right? But it's not in this sort of fashion, not in how clean cut and precise and efficient this 5-man unit was able to perform in this stage of the game, right? We knew they were all suiting up, putting on their best performance, getting that new nice haircut, preparing for the matches. It could be the massages, it could be getting the sleep earlier, going to the gym. But this performance, I don't know what Gaming Gladiator has behind their back, because dude, 13, 11, and 11. This is just, domination after domination after domination. The drafts were, very competitive coming from both sides. But when you take a look at the match, when you take a look at the time, the gold, the damage output, the tankiness, it all just goes in favor of the side of Gaming Gladiators. This is a team almost, showing like no sort of weaknesses here, Private.
Yeah. I mean, 11-minute game here, 7 towers to none. I was talking, I've been so focused on what Area 77 and how much they have improved to kind of get to the top of the ladder that I almost kind of ignored. We can take a look here at the stats here too. 3-0 and 13 for Hoon there, 4-0 and 5 for Zia. Still best player, still kind of leading up there, 6-1 and 5. But as I was talking about, I kind of forgot that the Gaming Gladiators, they even improved. They improved to such a degree that it's almost like it is unnecessary because they're already at the top of North America. But they showed me a level here, just like you were saying. They came with their best slacks on, with their best haircuts, rested. They ate their Wheaties in the morning. Everything here was so precise by them. You could take a look here at some of the stats here. Even Shark stealing away. They don't even get the sandbag from Gaming Gladiators. Shark's gonna go ahead and steal that up with the 67,000 damage taken there. And Gaming Gladiators, they just put on a show of, like I said, precise and just great gameplay here.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of their improvement, yes, right? We expect them to become the champions of North America. But this improvement, to be able to get onto this next level, it definitely feels like they've been able to reach it, especially with in terms of their last meeting in the regular season. It wasn't this crispy clean. I believe it was almost a 20-25 minute match. It's one of the longest matches in NACT. So this time around, for them to have such a strong showing, 13 to 11 and 11, I think those are the 3 timers. It paints the picture that GG is out there for blood right now. The suit and tie is strong. They're pretty much on their best performance. Nothing is gonna stop them. I don't know if A77 is gonna be able to do it a second time around. Right now, it may just be all up to the winners of our next game, because GG just swept these guys in such a dominating fashion. We could take a look at some of the damage dealt across the board. Best player stands out here with 45k damage. We talked about Chicken's impact here, 34k damage dealt on the XP lane. Damage is just so spread out throughout the tide of GG. Even the supporting actors like the Minotaur and the Angela do not fall quite behind here. Hoon, 100% MVP on this Angela. This man was everywhere from the XP to the base to inside every single player on the side of GG, just healing, sustaining, saving, and those hard guards were so impactful. We saw bot side, you know, Minotaur was getting picked off, and typically Angelas don't ult on tanks, but Shark, worthy, right? He did get that ultimate off, sets up for a great team fight here, and GG able to prevail in this series, dominating once again. Like, it's just absolute breathtaking, Liz.
Yes, breathtaking. Breathtaking, the fact that my predictions are the same as you guys now, because you guys both lost this one. But I think for this series, I expected more from Area 77, even though reality-wise, I did think GG was going to take it just because of their win streak so far. But I was expecting, you know, maybe 1 or 2 games clinch from GG. But it seems like you guys mentioned, GG also improved while everyone else is improving. So that's something we have to look out for.
Yeah, that's it's almost, I'm almost kind of ashamed that that's not a point that I've brought up before. I've been talking about how a lot of the teams have stepped up here in North America. They've been wanting to face that dragon of gaming gladiators. They've been wanting to try to take it to them. And I kind of completely ignored the fact that gaming gladiators can still improve too, to a level that we just haven't seen here before from them, especially in the season. Like, that was... they had some great games during the season, but how they played here tonight against Area 77, like, without a doubt, is probably the crispiest I've ever seen them with their rotations, with their ganks, with their dives, and even with the drafts as well.
What's their secret sauce, Liz? I want to know. Typically with these shows, we kind of have that interview coming up, and I just want to know what their secret sauce is. Do they get that massage? Like, they got someone coming into the house, giving it to them, maybe they get their pedicure in the mornings. Like, what is their day-to-day life? Because honestly, the performance that they had here, it was unexpected from any of us casting here. We thought this game could have went to the 4th, to the 5th game. We thought, you know, it could have been a long drawn 20-minute matches, no base towers left, but no, it was none of that. Private, like, it was no towers defeated, winning every single trade, every single team fight. Like, what is their secret, Liz?
I mean, I guess the GOAT is wrong and Trek stands corrected. But well, we did notice on the cam, I don't know about massage, I don't know what's going on with Yue's head right there, but we did see best player seems like he made himself to Vegas. So and best player and Hoon are together playing that game. So maybe that's adds to the synergy. I mean, it's hard that you find 2 players playing in an online tournament so far that they're in the same room. I mean, that probably brought more synergy. I mean, best player had like 90% kill participation for many of those games. That's got to be something. I mean, he's everywhere on
Wi-Fi
the map.
buff.
So.
Wi-Fi
yeah,
buff.
So let's guess who the MVP is, Private.
Who? Zia? Yeah, it's Zia. I was about to say, man, even in that last game, he didn't have a huge score in that last game, but man, he was dominating his lane. Even I want to say in game 2, where we thought that he was going to have trouble, even alone. Like, yeah, you can see here, ISO on the Harith, who was supposed to actually have a problem with the Ixie was supposed to have a problem there. Even before Shark could come up and help him out, he was dominating his lane. And you could see here, no answer, like Yui was talking about, no answer for the full barrage of Ixia, just cleaning house for gaming gladiators here.
And what's nice about Zia as a player is that he's not afraid to use different picks in different scenarios. It's almost like, you know, the side of gaming gladiators know to set up Zia for kind of like that late pick. It's not always about, you know, prioritizing something like a carry or a Claude. He's willing to play some off picks, right? The Exia gets put off the Arythal, which he's done a clean job losing lane, but completely dominating and changing the fact after that. And now with the performance of the Natan, it really like well rounds his hero pool, his character. He's able to just perform and dominate at such a high like standings. It's wild, really.